tell me who you are and how you're related to this building.
Jerry Grush, and this is my dad's office, Crawfordsville Grush. For years, he used to be in the Ben-Hur building, and when it closed, he moved out of here and bought the building down here. And then when he retired, Dr. Scheidler, he went into business with Dad.
He was also an eye doctor.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was an eye doctor. Okay. For years, he started with Dr. Castor Wilson. Years ago.
Yeah, come over here. We'll get you in front of here. Because I didn't realize they were over here too.
I know, it's every place.
Yeah, you want to stand in front of there so I have in front of the files?
Sure. These are all my dad's old files.
Well, that's what I mean. Perfect.
From all his paper
Perfect.
files. He would never go electronics.
Well, you can see how it was divided into departments.
Yeah, these are all the paper charts. When we switched to electronic macro records in May of 2013, so we had to find a place because I didn't want to get rid of all the paper charts because we have some people maybe that come back like places that say, hey, my grandfather had glaucoma, or they move away for 10 or 15 years and they come back.
Yep.
So we wanted to store those. So we alphabetized. We still are working on it, but we were alphabetized. There's tens of thousands. There's thousands of them.
We're looking
But-
at the foundation one too.
And then I store now this. This is, I think, the doorway. Let me think here. It looks like there's a doorway right there, Wade. Look at this. Right here, where they bricked in. I think they bricked in a doorway right there. That brick right there. That looks like it connects to the
yeah, because that
the Joshua Cup. You guys had to get at the attic.
That's the one where the stairway went up to the main floor of the.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if there was a connection here to get to the 107, the original Stecks.
No, that's exactly what this is.
This is a doorway, right?
Well, yeah, you can see it. Look back.
The young men's.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I mean, I remember this, all that.
And that's that header that we put in.
Oh, this is steel beam right here. It's
Yeah,
steel.
yeah.
That's a steel
Exactly.
beam.
And
That's just
you can see.
Now, what was that there? Just the outside?
Yeah.
Okay, that used to be a men's dressing room, and those are the plugs I was talking about, Michael. You had to actually go in the men's dressing room to turn off the lights for this room.
Okay.
Because in order to get lighting into this room, we had to wire it based on, and that's what I was looking for when I said the.
Okay. Now there's actually two. We can see where there's two changing rooms back in the corner.
Yeah, it looks like
Let's go back
there's two
here.
doors.
Yeah.
And it's kind of interesting if you guys want to see something real quick. There's a little doorway. This is hot chocolate, so it's store for we saw hot chocolate. There's a little the changing rooms. I think there's a changing room right there. You can see the doorway. And there's a doorway right here. So I think these are little. And what's interesting is there's a little cubby hole here. In fact, Joe Sadowski one time he would once in a while he'd lock himself out of his building. So he would go to my staff, my front desk, say, "Hey, can I go down in your basement?" And he could come through here, go into his basement, and then walk up to his office.
You're kidding me.
Yeah. So I've always said, you know, if I ever need to escape out of our building to get out of here, like that'd be
that'd be
the way to
it.
get out. Like if somebody perpetrator came in and we all ran down here, this would be a way to get out of buildings, fire. Yeah, it's a little cubby hole.
Now you can see
And what's
where
interesting, there's a little toilet that you had to step up to.
you can see where the
Yeah, that's 107. That's the basement 107.
the footings are.
There's like a little area where there's
So,
a step up. And you can see
that's
the
what we
toilet.
had to
There's a
dig
little-
out.
little-
Oh, right here?
Yeah.
I got it too. You go ahead.
And the bricks were just literally sitting on top of dirt.
Oh my gosh.
And so we dug that out, came back, filled that full of concrete, let that set up, dug another 3 out, and
Do the whole thing that way.
did the entire room.
How long did it take?
About 4 months. Bucket full at a time.
I was gonna say, that's pretty good to get it done in 4 months. Now look at the speaker there.
Yeah.
So that you could communicate, somebody could communicate down here.
No, we had music.
Oh, okay,
We had music in the whole store.
okay.
See, this was originally, we had men's
And that
pants
takes you to Joe's old place,
and
right?
and coats down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this floor
Mm-hmm.
was a solid, rough cut cherry floor.
Here?
Yes, where the concrete is. And we, Dad, Van, and myself went to a farmer, and he had this rough cut cherry sitting against his a barn.
Mm-hmm.
And we asked him how much he wanted, and he said, "Well, it's worth a lot."
Yep.
And we said,
Thank
"Well,
you. Got it.
how much?" And he said, "A nickel a board foot." So we paid $1. I mean, a nickel a foot, and brought it down here and anchored it to the floor.
I know, right?
So what's interesting is in there, right in here, maybe what you guys think it's like maybe 10, 15 feet back in there. Maybe?
Yeah.
There's a little step, and it looks like this is a sink. It almost looks like a toilet was right there. Is that what you're talking about when you step up into the little bathroom?
No, that was
It's back over here.
on the other side.
This is a 107, right? We found this in 107 basement.
Okay,
Not.
but you had to, in order to use the men's john, you had to come up to about that level right there. You had to literally climb up.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what steps up.
Yeah.
This is probably, you had to climb up a step, probably the floor is right here, the little bathroom, and then you had to take some steps up. That's what this is. Those are the steps right here.
Like right behind this wall.
Yeah, it's right behind over here.
It's right over here.
It's a little
Yeah,
cubby
that's
hole.
exactly, you're
That's
right.
probably where it was.
You're 100% right.
That's the steps right here.
He took us upstairs twice, hasn't he?
But, you know, we
Yes, you
finally
never
got,
finished that up there.
we finally got to the
Your
point.
name's on the wall, though. In
So
more than one place.
when you went up to the bathroom. you
Really?
had a-
Yes, I have photos of it.
Street light.
Yes,
What's
Wade
that?
Nixon. You and a couple of other guys.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yes,
right.
it said you
I
had
can't
to
believe
drink
I did
Went up
that.
above.
That's more above street level. That's probably right. So when you said you go up the steps right in here, that's probably above street level. Like you said, it had to be above street level. When you
Well, yeah, because
yeah.
you know that's
Yeah.
you know the street's right there.
Right. So Wade, interesting fact, and 12 years ago, this was over Labor Day weekend. It was a 3 or 4 day weekend. But anyway, I came in and this basement was flooded. It had red shag carpet. I think. Do you remember red shag carpet in here?
Yep.
Most of it. And there was water probably 9 inches high. So what happened was the water line coming into Arthur's Cafe had broken, and we're lower than they are. So all the water went in
Came
here.
down.
It damaged a bunch of my stuff. I had side charts and stuff, and just a bunch of stuff. So we had to have a professional come in because there was possible mold and stuff. So we had to have somebody come in, a professional. They had to disinfect everything, and we had to tore the carpet out. It's like red shag carpet. Or do you remember that? The
Yeah,
red carpet?
part of it was,
Okay.
but part of it was that cherry that I was talking
That's
about,
what I was going to say. What happened to the boards?
and then the red shag was put around.
Okay. And I didn't want to take a chance of carpet back in here, so I just left the concrete. So if we have another flood, I'm not going to worry about mold as much. What did you guys have down here? Because it looks like sections of like areas. Did you have like men's hats or suits down here?
Okay, for
I
example.
missed that part of the talk. I think.
Well, there's been a lot of talk. This was men's pants,
Okay.
and they were made in sections like this, so that if you had like and they would be 30 waist with 33 length, and then they were all stuffed in there, and then the next one was stuffed there, and then the next one,
Okay.
and then we would these all had counters on top of them where we could pull out the pants and present them when we were selling.
So John, they make sure you did all this dark woodwork and how you expose the brick and all that stuff.
Yeah.
John Matrix, yeah. This was already exposed.
Well, see,
brick.
Ben and Dad, we call them
Van.
slapdash construction because that's kind of the way they build things. We had a college kid who was working upstairs in what became the deli. No, that became the attic. And we told him to keep moving because if he didn't keep moving, he was going to get painted. Well, he didn't keep moving and he got painted.
Really?
Yeah, because Van and Dad we had an airless spray gun, and
Oh, that's funny.
and he just got painted. He got covered with
That's
paint.
funny.
He
That
said,
was the slapdash part of it, see?
Ah.
and,
No, gotta get this one.
and I said, Mark, I told you, and he said, I thought you were kidding. He said, I didn't think it would do.
Wow. Yeah, they were amazing. What they did back then. This is like an
we could do kind of whatever we wanted.
He said they played music through that.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that. As music piped through the whole department, the whole
The
Steck.
whole store.
All the 4 stores had music.
All the store had music. And we put it where we could.
So you said a men's changing room was over there. What were these two? Are these for the kids? Or?
No,
It looks like 2 doorways.
Right, because again we had pants there, so we'd send them into the dressing room, and they would try on pants, and then they would use that for pants, and then in between we hung men's coats, and then this was raincoats. That was all men's hanging stuff too.
Okay.
And you can see,
Just my water bottle.
we literally just hung stuff across there.
Okay. So the raincoats and men's suits and slap
I mean,
pants, all kinds of stuff.
we had merchandise wherever we could find room.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I see circles here. Now, what are the circles here and here that they've been carved out? Like they've been...
You mean these?
Yeah, what did you put there?
Okay. These came out of a farmer's barn.
So they were already...
So we bought the barn.
I got it, and then...
And then
just...
brought the beams in and then notched them because this had
Shelf, like...
yeah.
That's neat. Yeah, it was a farmer that was tearing his barn down, wasn't it? I think you told me about that. There was a farmer, you drove by some farmer and he looked like he was tearing his barn down. He said, you want that wood? Or are you going to use that wood? Yeah.
Fit right in.
Well, good seasoned wood
See,
that way.
here's some more.
And I saw on the other side, yeah.
And then it carries on through there. And there's some more footings over there.
You can see where the shelf
See where
is
the-
and tore down.
Right here.
Yeah.
Where okay. That was dug out.
Oh.
Concrete was put in there. And then the bricks were put to on top of
That's
that.
amazing. So that was the level that they dug out, where it's not brick.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah,
what
that
happened
makes sense.
was
That was just dirt.
when we got down to this level, we didn't have enough height
No.
to do anything.
Yeah, look, yeah.
Yeah, you have to crawl.
So
Interesting. You can see over here too,
Yeah.
where that was.
the block had to be sitting on something.
It's interesting that the original builders of this in 1875 didn't put concrete. Like the brick was just. I mean, because that's scary. I mean, with the ground, soil erosion and just earthquakes.
They didn't think of it.
Wow. Scary. Concrete that, but
Well, you stop and think,
foundation,
it
concrete foundation.
pretty solid underneath as far as Crawfordsville is concerned.
Yeah.
So,
We don't have a lot of earthquakes either. But, okay. You guys, I appreciate all the work you guys did on these buildings. You guys did a lot of work, and it's great for us to have storage area for stuff. Like this is where we keep all of our decorations for the different holidays. We store them down here.
it was interesting that you say all that because what happened was there were so many nooks and crannies. There was ups and downs and so on and so forth. That Dad and Van started building a map. And if you would ever find that map,
I'll let you know.
because it's really cool because it had, you know, it had an upstairs and it had a downstairs and it had an understairs and people would just absolutely, how do you ever know where you are?
Yeah. Well, I noticed you up in the restaurant. There's a list of extension numbers that people can get a hold of, like Wade's office, the deli, the weather vane. So if somebody needs to get a hold of somebody, you didn't have to walk everywhere, you just call them. I mean, I'll show that to you. Yeah.
Originally there were 4 different phones as far as phone lines were concerned. And if you look over in the corner, you'll see one of those big gray phone lines.
Yeah, I think I see it right back there in the corner.
And Dad was very much against me putting in the phones, but I said, you know, if you happen to be in the deli and the phone is for, say, Dad, and he was in the men's store, then he'd have to go over and above and through and so on and so forth. So
save you time just calling each other instead of walking all over the place. Well, should we head up to the deli? Do you guys have any more questions about the basement? Not the basement, the lower level.
Lower level.
Oh.
Are we going to stop by so they can see the photos you have on your wall?
Yes, good idea. Good reminder.
Thank you.
Karen, thank you. I appreciate you reminding me. This was probably originally down here. This was left by Dr. Gresh, and I'm assuming it was here before he bought the buildings.
Was it there before your dad?
It's just a bunch of stuff.
boy, you are a pack rat, aren't you?
Well, I'll be honest with you. A lot of this stuff was her dad's stuff.
Yeah.
This was all stuff. These are all glasses.
Oh, there's still got glasses in
This
them.
was there.
Yeah,
Yeah, these are all glasses. Yeah, this was all your dad's stuff. Yeah.
It's called history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that? You know, all kinds
Now
of.
watch your terminology.
Exactly. It's kind of like lower level.
There you go.
Yeah, Bausch Shalom, they make contact lenses and
Contacts.
glasses.
Yeah.
Contact
Yeah,
lenses.
that's what it is.
This is all stuff that you still. Yeah. If there's anything you want, let me know if you want to go through these. Because I really haven't touched them. The only thing I put instruction manuals for all my instruments in here. That's like the only drawer I use for like. Interesting.
Yeah, I might go do this another day.
Yeah.
And I can't believe
I take you through that.
Yeah.
the stuff we
Yeah.
got
All kinds
as
of
far
papers
as
here.
building was concerned.
Yeah. Phil Brush.
Oh,
No
there's-
permits,
500
huh?
Ben Hur building.
Oh, that's
what
right.
Not
That's
many.
what we're talking about that. Yeah.
When you
Yeah,
live
we're
in
talking
Castle
about
Wilson,
that,
they
yeah.
were
Not many.
Oh, you need to go through all that.
Yeah, he was on the 5th. Was he on the 4th floor?
He was on the 4th floor with
Yeah,
Dr. Wilson.
these are Dr. Grush when he was on the in the Ben Hur building.
He went in with Dr. Wilson on the 4th floor, but then my grandfather's attorney, Harding Hinthorn, was on the 5th floor. And when they moved out and Dr. Wilson retired, Dad moved up on the 5th floor.
Oh,
And
okay.
then when they closed the Ben Hur building, that's when he came down.
In the early 90s,
Yeah,
wasn't
this
it? I think it was after you guys closed that.
Yeah.
I think his friend John Horner bought. I think he bought a couple buildings and then he sold one to your dad,
Yeah.
John Horner.
Oh,
Yeah.
John did? Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
See? Did you hear that, Gary?
What's that?
John Horner owned a couple of these buildings.
That
Oh,
would
he
be
did.
Sold
neat
it
for
to
you
your
Let me
dad.
know if you want to
Oh.
come back.
When we sold the 4 buildings,
Yeah.
John bought
Bought
2
two
of
of
them.
That'd be interesting.
I did
Yeah,
not
you
know.
can take the time.
Another day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But yeah, he started on the 4th
I
floor.
love the
and moved up.
lattice, the dark.
Mhm.
dark
I
wood, the
remember
lattice.
that.
It's pretty.
I-
The
that
stained
I
wood,
do
it's
remember.
really pretty.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
So you probably had a lot of men's.
I just said I can't believe what we got away with. I'm looking at the wiring and the. I mean, I put a lot of that in. I had no idea what I was doing.
Another music
Yeah.
sounds.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't really put any of the children's painted white clothes down here, right? When that was just all upstairs, and this was still men's clothing.
That was all upstairs.
That was all, even though
that was the Diana shop.
So this was all men's down here the whole time.
This was
men's
young
apparel.
men's.
The young men's, okay.
Young men's.
Then you kept the kids up there, on the floor above
You
here.
remember no, you don't. There was a TV show called The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
And that's what this room was based on.
I'll have to look that up. I don't remember that. That was way before.
Yeah, it was.
That's good.
What year was that?
Ilya Kuryakin,
Okay.
who was one of and he's the doctor on.
I'll tell NCIS.
Yes.
NCIS.
Okay.
Yes. Ducky. The guy.
Ducky.
It was a show, a weekly show, or was it a movie?
No,
It was a
it's a show.
weekly
It was a
hour-long
weekly
show.
It was called The
It stood for
Okay.
United.
United Network Command of Law Enforcement.
Is that what it was?
Okay.
I
I'll look
never knew
that up.
that.
Right.
Oh, everybody knows that, don't they?
Well, I didn't know.
I've seen the show.
I've seen the show, but I didn't know what the uncles.
Well, should we head upstairs? We can look at those old photos.
Yeah, you need to.
Watch your
Yeah.
head.
I'll be the last one.
Oh,
You hear that water rushing through here when somebody flushed the toilet?
It's got a rocker up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of
Yeah,
pipes.
yeah,
This was okay. This was the end of
You never knew when there might be some government
that stairway.
coming on, or government person coming in wanting to know.
I
That's
know.
how your books work either.
Yeah.
It stopped at this
Glasses
wall,
and things like that, that would.
and that's why this is here.
Oh, the steel beam there? So the stairway stopped here. You guys had to dig all this out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, the stairway down here is stuck.
Dug this hole.
Okay.
yeah, so that's
Like buckets.
feet.
They didn't
That's so
know
many
if I
feet.
were had an excavator,
Basically,
they
this
could have
stairway,
put a bucket on it.
this was to be able to have access to get into the crawl space that you had before you dug this out, right? This stairway, that's the only purpose was to get down here and if they need to get under the building.
That's exactly
That's
what
my
it was.
purpose.
Because
Okay.
we would just,
92.
we would just cut steps off and make a hallway.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you stopped here. That was where the step stopped.
And gas lines and
It's got a crimp in it.
yeah.
A lot of
it is.
history.
It's also amazing. I mean, that's a gas line. That's a hot gas line. And see, here's another phone line.
Okay.
So when was
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
This is water. Isn't it? This is probably wastewater.
This is water.
Wastewater. Or is that fresh water maybe? It's probably wastewater.
There's wastewater.
Wastewater, yeah. Huh. Nothing's really changed much, has it, down here? We haven't really done a lot to it, so.
Well, I mean, look,
Very historical.
that didn't cover, it didn't have
Didn't get it
a cover on it.
Yeah.
You know, I have fire inspectors come in here every year, and they never pointed that out to me. They said that I have to make sure this works, and but I don't think they've ever caught that.
It was funny, whenever we knew that the fire marshal was gonna come, then we would purposely not put a cover on something, so he could say, oh no, that'll never work, and was, okay, fine, we'll take care of that.
That's funny. What are these? This is phone line. These tan-colored wires.
The part of the speaker system.
Okay. Wow. You guys work hard. Did a lot of stuff.
Yes, we did.
Look at that pink wall back there.
I know.
That was Wade's favorite color. That's probably you probably picked that Wade.
Yeah, I
color,
did.
didn't you?
I did.
Behind there. Put a little piece right here. Look at that. Hey, Matrix. I bet he put that up there.
Oh, he did. And he would just drive me crazy.
That's just a closet.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the original lighting system for the men's store overhead.
Oh.
The timer.
Upstairs, you mean?
No, right.
Or next door, 107 next door.
Right next door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what that was.
That's interesting. Okay, that was a timer. So it had light. It controlled the lighting when the lights, display lights turned on and off in the front there. Interesting. It goes back probably, I'm guessing, 1800s.
Oh, yeah,
The
that's
horse
That's
buggy.
the one that had the
Interriver
Joy
Railroad.
that said Joy Theater.
No.
No, I think it's the second one. I think it's the parade one.
Okay,
The circus
this
one.
This is I could be wrong on this, but I think this is Little Mexico, where Little Mexico restaurant is. This is looking west. That looks like the Heathcliff building right there. So this is looking west on Main Street. So that's all.
Okay, are those the two horses?
There's a horse and buggy. Yeah, two horses.
Okay,
Yeah.
we went to New York, and I just got the biggest kick out of it because New Yorkers are somewhat provincial, and so we'd walk in a showroom, and the one would say, "So Sid, come out here and meet some people all the way from Indiana." Well, Dad and I got awfully tired of that, so we found that picture of downtown Crawfordsville with the two horses, and we took that and turned it into a business card.
They thought this would look like now, apparently,
And
when you
so
showed it to them.
we'd walk in and we'd say, "That's right, we're all the way from Indiana, and it's not a one-horse town because there are two of them right there."
Oh, that's funny.
And
That's funny.
the really funny part was that they would remember the next time we came in.
Little Mexico building right here.
Yes.
Little Mexico. This is across the street. This is where the art studio and all that stuff is.
Yeah.
Is the Ben-Hur
That's-
building
that's
there?
It would be back this
Then
way.
her building would be back this way. Yeah,
We
it'd
think
be
the
like
building
over
at
here.
the end is the old G.C. Murphy
Yeah.
that sat on the corner, which is Heathcliff.
Heathcliff.
Oh, yeah.
This
Yeah.
says this says ice
That's where
cream.
that
The one
was.
that-
Well, there used to be a
that old-
candy
the
kitchen.
candy is
Yes.
Candy
and
kitchen
This,
now.
this right here says ice cream restaurant right here. That says ice cream and restaurant. So there must have been. This is where Little Mexico was. Little Mexico restaurant's right down here below. But this is the Heathcliff building over here on the corner.
Yeah.
So this is looking west on Main.
That used to be Murphy.
So sugar. So our buildings would be right here, down here. And this massive building right here got burnt down. This whole half a block. I think this was called the Big Store, wasn't it? Back in the
Yeah.
the Big Store was. These were all burnt
Dillman's.
down. And was it
Dillman's.
1934, 35?
Yeah,
the
30.
big fire?
I think it was
It was
30.
it's when
I think it was 34 or 35 because my.
the Catholic Church caught on fire downtown.
Where
Yeah.
That's
Chase
where
Bank.
the Chase Bank is.
Your dad probably opened this Steck store right after that huge fire that
In
wiped out half
1936.
this block.
And it
Yeah.
was so hot. How hot was it? It was so hot that the steering wheels melted inside the cars. That's how hot the fire was.
So 36 is when that big fire took place.
And Dad started the store in 1936. So
Yeah, I have a friend that he died a few years ago. He's 90, almost 97. Bob Pugh. He was a World War II vet. He was captured in France by the Nazis. He was a Nazi prison against 6 months. But anyway, he lived here. He grew up here, and he was a Wabash grad. But he told me when he was a kid, probably 12 or 13, his dad worked. I think he was maybe the publisher for the Journal Review. He said, "Son, don't come downtown. There's a bad fire." He said, I think they lived near the old Crawfordsville High School, and he said. My friend said Bob said he just saw black smoke everywhere, but that would have been the big fire.
That would have been, yeah.
Yeah.
and they brought fire engines in from Greencastle and every place else to try and put out the fire.
So those buildings, the Dance by Deborah building, all these Milligans, those are all new buildings, aren't they? The Community Foundation building, they're all newer built after 36.
And I had a copy of those at one
Thank
point
God it
in
didn't
time.
burn all these down. We're so
I did not know that. No.
about the big fire.
Yeah, well, I knew about a fire, but I didn't know it took out all
Yeah.
Oh,
the.
yeah.
So this building right here is massive. It's called the big store, but it was a 4-story building. Probably about the same height as I'm getting, not quite as high as the Ben-Hur building, but probably about the same height as the courthouse, not including
Was
the
that on the
clock
very
tower.
corner down there?
Yeah, this would have been where Dance by Deborah's building is. On
Okay,
the
so
corner,
that
corner of
then
Green
will
and
become
Main.
Delicaps.
That was
Yeah.
Goodman's and
that was
Delicaps.
Goodman's, and
And then
then
Delicaps.
and Goodman's was in Crawfordsville, and it was also in Rockville.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about Joel Camp.
Yep. And this was,
Down on
this
the
is our
other
building
side
right
of Joy Theater, in that picture, there's a candy kitchen.
here. Yes, you said it was 115. Because I
Mhm.
originally thought it was in this building, but I was wrong. It was in
No, it's
115.
no,
but
it's
so it was
on the
right
other
down.
way. Yeah, it's the
It's
other
called the
direction.
Candy Kitchen with a K, wasn't it? K?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that would have been.
Was that the one that was next to the Strand?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
11, 113. So that would be. I think. Okay. So this is 109. This
That's
is my
where
building.
they had all the
That's
goodies.
111,
and
that's
you
where
could go
the-
in
Yeah.
and
That's where Joshua Cup
gain
is.
100 pounds.
113 would be here. So this is probably 115. That's probably where the Candy Kitchen was
I
right
was
here.
in high school,
Yeah.
so
So that building probably burnt. That was probably burnt down.
All
Yes,
that.
because
Yeah. This is a
From
massive.
the alley
look,
down?
Look how tall this building was. That was a massive
You
building.
think it was from the alley down?
of course, when
Well,
the
see, where's
Strand was
Milligan?
Yes, I think you're. I think. Well, I think it might have
on
been
Saturdays.
even. I think probably it burned where Milligan's building.
Yeah.
Milligan's gift shop. I think that was burned down too. I think the fire must have gone because that's a newer building.
Yep,
You could
yep.
get red
Only
hot,
one
So,
level.
Milligan's was
So
the
basically,
Woolworths that was
basically
out.
this building next door, the old Joy Theater, was
Or
probably
Woolworths.
the last
Yeah,
building.
it was.
It didn't get. It was the first
Yeah,
building that didn't get
Woolworths and
burned.
Murphy's.
You know what I mean? It was
Murphy's
where the
was
fire
down on the
stopped.
corner, yeah.
From here.
Heathcliff.
So that fire was massive. I mean, it wiped out
Oh, it,
this building, and then the only one that left was the Joy Theater right here, probably right here. I think it
well,
burned
in
all
St.
these down.
Bernard's,
Yeah.
That was where Chase Bank is.
Right.
That was on Main and
and
Right.
that whole structure burned completely to the
I
ground.
know, it was a beautiful church too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be going to mass there if it wasn't burnt down. But yeah, I've seen pictures of it. What year was that? Was that the 1800s? Late 1800s or?
No.
1960 it was.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense because I
Yeah.
think they built our church, yeah, in the 60s.
Well, I was in grade school, so that was a long time ago.
So I
I
think
know
I've
that
heard
feeling.
the Barnum Bailey Ringling Brothers would have.
Don't say anything.
I didn't.
What?
We were trying to figure out how old you were when you were carrying buckets up the stairs.
I'm a teenager.
I was a teenager.
Okay.
I graduated from high school in 1965.
I graduated in 64. So you're not so ancient. I don't consider myself.
Well, I don't consider myself ancient.
It's a good thing we love you.
I just remember, I just remember so many things downtown
Mhm.
because
You live down here.
I live. I mean,
No, literally, I mean.
I literally was at the store all the time, and I started working at the store when I was 12.
Where did you grow? Where did you live? Here in Crawfordsville, or I know you live in Waveland now, but did you live here in Crawfordsville like your parents? You know, when you were a kid.
Yeah, we lived
downtown here.
We lived in the west end of Crawfordsville,
Okay.
down by Donley's.
Okay. The old Don. Okay. The original Don's place.
And after Dad got out of the service, and he told the story about that he came home and took out a mortgage and built a $1,200 house, and he said, I didn't think that I would ever get out of that. He said $1,200 was all the money in the world.
Hell yeah.
Wow.
And then we built the house across the street. So I grew up in 1304 West 12 Avenue, and then we built 1401 across the way.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
I ride my bike downtown all the time, and
Yeah.
as I say, Dad knew slave labor when he had it.
Yeah.
I started working at the store, and he said, he was a con artist. He said,
If you do this, I'll do that.
exactly. And he'd say, do you want to earn some money? And I said, well, sure, I want to earn money. He said, well, how about if you work at the store? And he said, I'll pay you 25 cents. And I said, 25 cents an hour? And he said, how about 10 cents an hour? So he lowered it. I'm the only, next to Maurice Oakley, who worked at Delicamps. Maurice Oakley was the manager of the men's store. And he worked at Delicamps. And Dad hired him and paid him. Oak always used to say, I'm the only person in Crawfordsville that took a cut to go to work for Harold Nixon. And I said, no, you aren't.
Me.
Because I did the same thing. But Oak was getting $37.50 a week to work at Delicamps, and Dad got him down to $35 a week.
Interesting.
And finally, when I was still in high school, I said to Dad, when do I get a raise? And he said, well, do you think you deserve one? And I said, well, yeah, I've been here for a long time. And he said, well, what do you think you ought to get? And I said, 35 cents an hour. And he said, how about 30 cents an hour? And then the other thing, when we built 1401, which was the house across the street from 1304, he said, wait, I'm going to need some help with the landscaping. And I said, well, okay. He said, I'll make you a deal. He said, I know you like to go swimming every day. And I know you go to the country club every day. But if you will take care of the landscaping, then you can go swimming every day. And I thought, whoa, what a great deal that is. What I didn't think about was that the landscaping I had done the week before was going to be back the next week. So, yeah, I got to go swimming, but I also had to
Work every week.
Week just to, so, yeah, he knew how to play the game very well.
Are those two houses still standing in West Walden?
Yes.
On West Walden?
I want to look at them.
The lady who is in charge of Main Street lives at 1304.
Sue Lucas? Or Sue Lucas, is that it?
I think that's
I think it's Sue Lucas is in charge of Main Street, right?
And they added on to the house. They lifted the roof and added. She showed me some pictures.
1304 or 1401?
1304.
Okay.
1401. Everybody said that you couldn't build a house there. And Dad said, yeah, you can. So
1304 was on Wabash Avenue, 1401 was across the street on Main Street, right? West Main.
No,
They're both on
They're both
Wabash.
on the same.
They're both on
Wabash.
Wabash, yeah.
Both on Wabash.
Just literally across from each other.
So you lived in 1304 first, and then you moved over to 1401, or did you rent out 1401 and still live at 1304?
No, 1304 is when Dad came back from the war.
Okay.
And that's the one where he took out the $1,200 mortgage.
But then he built another one across the
And
street,
then,
1401. Did you guys move over to
And then
1401?
he drew the prints, and there was an old house across the 3.5 acres.
Okay.
And an old drunk lived there. And so Dad drew the plans and
Built a house on there.
they built a house there. And
You guys moved over there. Sold the other house probably on 1304.
And I had a great time because every day I would show up before the carpenters would to help build the house.
I only asked because Mr. Shepherd took down houses in Wabash. And we went in there and bought the doors and door casings that are in our house.
Oh,
That's the only reason I asked.
That's
Because
neat.
oh yeah, nice doors, nice doors.
he wanted to see if that was his house that got
Uh-huh.
knocked down. One
Uh-huh.
of those houses. No, it was a pretty. It was a pretty simple house. They added on to it later on when he got out from $1,200. Isn't that
That's
funny?
crazy. I know,
Funny.
1,200. Gee.
It sounds like all the money in the world. but-
Yeah, can be some
So
photos.
the
Okay.
Ring Brothers Smart Basers was Battle Club
Yep.
down by
That's
the
right.
Crow
Yep.
or the old Town and Country Home Center
Right.
and
Well,
the old
the Savage
Target.
but the radio station was out there also.
I don't know where that is.
The FM radio station.
Yeah, I
Well,
saw
that's,
that.
And the Indian motorcycle dealer.
I think
was
that's,
out there also.
the country club.
Did you know Castor Wilson? I mean, I knew you knew Dr. Rush, but did you know Dr. Castor Wilson?
Oh yeah, I grew up.
Yeah, he knows, yeah.
Okay.
I
I
grew
grew
up
up
with him.
across the street from him.
No, somebody said he was kind of a quiet man. I always thought he'd be more like kind of
He was
one.
quiet.
Was he kind of a quiet man?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
He lived in the big red house where
Yeah.
Canfield lived.
Oh yeah, okay,
And they-
yeah.
and
Right across
they
the street
had
from you.
a-
Yeah, yeah.
They had a whole bear skin in the front room. With
Yep.
Really?
I remember that bear because he had. They were so nice to me. My grandparents lived on that street, so
oh,
I'd go to see my grandparents, and then I'd go to see the Wilsons, and Mrs. Wilson would always give me cookies.
Oh.
And
Dorothy.
What street did they live on? You said they.
Water.
Water Street.
'Cause that's
Okay.
where he
Corner of
grew up.
Water and Jefferson. I grew up right across the
That big
street.
red house.
Oh, the big red. Was it red brick house?
Yeah.
Yeah, used to be Cantrell,
Yeah.
Dr. Cantrell. He's a dentist here in town.
Okay, so Cantrell lived there before Wilson.
No, after.
No.
Cantrell lived there after. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to go check
what
that
you
out.
probably don't know about your parents.
Probably not.
I mean, things that I can tell.
You can tell me they won't mind. I'm kind of feeling like spirits in this building, being in here. It's like, oh my God, Nixons and Crushes and Wilsons.
Phil had a daughter, Sandy.
Yep.
And
My sister.
Her sister.
yes, I'm very aware of that.
Yeah.
And my sister and myself were the only kids invited to the wedding. They didn't want any kids.
Really?
Yeah. So we were the only kids that were there.
At my sister's wedding?
Really?
Huh.
Now you have to go look at the photos, won't you?
Yeah.
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 Because we were the only young people there.
So how old was Sandy? How old Sandy? Is she? How old?
Sandy,
So what was your question?
Like, who's she married?
Rick Adams. They met at Hanover.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say, because I don't remember him. But I do-
see, they were big. They were all big Hanover.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure
But I
Phil.
think of my mom and
Phil,
dad.
her dad was a track
I'm
star
sure
down
it's
there.
my mom and dad.
Phil Brash was a track star in Hanover. You know that?
What?
Yeah.
Really good track star. I saw pictures of him at his funeral.
Yeah.
Tell him about your dad. He was a track star at Hanover. I didn't know that until I saw pictures
I didn't
of him
know.
Oh, yeah.
and his track
Still has
outfit down
records
at
down
his
there,
funeral.
you know.
Yeah.
See,
He
he's
has
got all
records
his
down there.
medals and everything.
Really?
I would have never. I mean, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
He never really told me that.
He still has.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I knew he went to Hanover, but I didn't know he was a track star.
Yeah.
I'm very
Yeah.
humble.
Wow.
He just never told me about it.
Yeah,
he's
Sandy's
not.
got
He's
the
probably
whole
one.
thing that was all
Yeah.
that Hanover stuff.
That's
If she
really
went
cool.
down there, she could have him.
That's
Yeah.
really cool. You guys want to look at some pictures
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
some other pictures?
Yeah, I think Sandy would have.
And then I've got some bottled water upstairs. We can get some water.
Okay. I've got a race to go to.
Yeah.
Long Beach.
Yeah. I do remember now.
And where do you live at now?
This guy, Dr. H.G. Green.
Southwest of Newmarket.
Oh, so you're in the county then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were out of state or something.
No,
That's what I thought.
Yes.
I think so.
So she was the secretary, she was the principal at Wayland Elementary when I was.
She was?
When I
was the librarian at Newmarket.
You mean she still had a job?
This is male humor, isn't it?
Right, right.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm trying to show you pictures down there.
Or he's basically looked up 60,000 people since the 1800s. Yeah, this guy. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I'll get his name.
Yeah.
Do you know who I'm talking about? He actually looked up this Dr. H.E. Green and found some information.
Yeah, he lived in Joel Block's building.
Yeah. And, I think he died of some kind of kidney ailment or something like that. But his dad was like, I think on Citizens Bank, I think his father-in-law, I think got him on the board of the Citizens Bank over here. But he was an optometrist, and an eye doctor, artist, and Dr. H.E. Green had a practice. I think it was like early 1900s.
Yeah, it was.
These glasses.
Did anybody ever find out about him?
I had a patient that I've got information up in the restaurant area. There's printouts about him. Yeah, I'll have to.
You were curious.
Yeah, I had a patient that does. He does genealogy for citizens. I think he said he's looked up like 60-some thousand inhabitants of Montgomery County.
Who's that?
I'll find out. It's on that sheet
I meant
upstairs.
the guy.
genealogy
I meant the
or
guy.
the library?
He's the guy.
I can't remember his name. It's upstairs.
She's the genealogy.
Yeah, you would love to talk to him because he's kind of in.
I probably know him.
Yeah. This is probably, I'm guessing 1800s because it looks like they're,
Yeah.
you know, but I don't see any
But
horse.
you're talking about another long-standing candy shop.
Right, yeah, Candy Kitchen.
Yeah.
It's over here. It's down over here. And then
You can see the sign. That's the Candy
Yeah.
Kitchen sign. I thought it was in front of my building. My building right here. I think it's further down.
Now,
158.
where did you get this picture at? I haven't seen this. Well, this.
That was given to me by this gentleman right here, Wade
Oh.
Nixon.
By a
Right next
guy whose mother and aunt
It's,
they held the movie theater.
Okay.
And
what's it say? Does it say
Okay. And that was called the Joy Theater. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah. And what's interesting is do you have any idea who removed these 9-foot historic windows? Because I'm guessing it was done decades ago. Because in all the pictures I've seen from the 60s over here in the early 60s, it was they had signage up. I think they went signage up there on the second floor. So they removed these 9-foot windows. They bricked those in with 3 layers of brick, and then they could put big signs out there.
Well, how far was that from where the fire was at? Because see, like when the
fire was clear around.
The fire was way down here.
Okay, way down there.
Yeah,
Okay.
over here.
Okay.
But because all these windows were all these 9-foot windows were left intact,
Well, I
except
was
these
just
they
thinking
removed
the
them.
heat.
I was praying,
See,
hoping
like
they would
when
store
we
them
had
somewhere
the
in the
fire
buildings.
over
Up
in
there.
the corner by
And
the
they
library.
were nowhere to be found.
We had
So they discovered. So I had to have Bill Hepburn, a local guy, Airlook Windows. He had to custom make those to match the third floor windows. And I had to have contractors jackhammer 3 layers thick of brick in these to make new openings for the 9-foot windows. So there was brick flying all over the place. They had to build a tunnel out there so people wouldn't get hit with flying bricks.
Well, look at this picture. Joy Theater. Okay, Steck's, the hair shop to the left of it, if you're facing. Right here. Okay, what's the next one? That's the weather vane. Okay, we got this picture here that's 63. You don't have weather vane.
That would be the Joy Theater right here. That's the Joy Theater.
What was it then, though?
I don't know. That's a good question.
It was the Joy Theater.
But
I don't think so.
Yeah,
It says Lords. Was there
Lords.
Lords.
That's it.
L-O-R-D-S.
But before it was Lords,
It was the Joy Theater. Right. Okay. What was Lords? Was that a clothing?
Lords was a ladies' clothing store.
He gets the weather.
It was an older.
It was lower end.
Lower end.
I was gonna say, I knew it wasn't.
Okay. That looks like J.C. Penney.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, someone had to look up Lord 111.
Lords is in there somewhere.
The Wards is down a block. It's down by Little Mexico.
Nope.
That would have been out
Wasn't
here.
it?
Nope. Lords was right in there at
I
one
don't
time.
think so. I don't think so.
I know so.
This is the corner. This is the corner.
We love it when
Don't
you
put
guys
that-
are right.
Don't put that on tape.
See, there's basically.
It is.
Yeah.
And then our original old sign.
Yeah.
And then the Golden Rule, which also it opened up around the corner.
that's right.
Reasoners. The gold rule went, you mean it went back and then cut back over?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're dealing with second team here. You could get around Dryer's Drugstore is down there.
Right.
Pharmacy. And then Delicamp.
Delicamps, is that right here? That tall building right there?
Yeah, it's right on the corner.
Okay, that's where
I see the sign.
okay, that's where Dance by Deborah is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
And this, you can tell this is the building that was
Yeah, that
on
was
the
the
corner of
building
Yeah.
that burned.
was it Green and
Yeah.
Water or
It
Green
used
and
to be
Main?
a bank. Long time
Been
ago.
her
I think it was a
building.
bank.
I have a patient, I can't remember her name, she's probably gone now, but she used to work in the Gold Grill. She said, well, we sold fancy women's hats and stuff. I'll take her name, but she said, I used to smell that meat. She goes, this is disgusting to smell that meat from Baisley's next door.
It was so
It's
foul.
stinky, yeah, that's what she said.
It had a sawdust floor.
Oh, so that meat would probably start rotting. The meat juice and all the bacteria.
It was pretty bad.
And they may not have air
was
conditioning.
high.
They didn't. Nothing. Yeah, we were the first building downtown that had air
See,
conditioning.
there's that Diane shop.
Yeah.
See that they had no windows. So this was in '63. So they must have taken these windows out way before then.
Yeah,
So,
because
I wish they wouldn't have. It
Yeah.
must be unfortunate. For them, yeah.
Library does. I have that picture.
and then of course there's
The one they're
Woolworth.
talking about.
Well, that's Woolworth right
I
here.
can see it in the
Yeah.
reflection.
JCPenney.
I haven't seen that one.
So what's interesting is the Montgomery County Community Foundation building, that red brick building, that I don't see it here. Did they add that? Did they tear these down and build it new, or did they the Community Foundation building down here? The big.
Well, that would have been part. That would have been part of the fire.
But this is after the fire. This is '63.
Where is it? What
So
building?
my point is the Montgomery County Community Foundation building.
Is that number
it's a
120?
red
Is it 125?
two-story building. It
Yeah.
looks different than these.
It does.
Wasn't that Ward's? That was Ward's. No, it
But
wasn't.
that does not look like the Montgomery.
Yours was down.
See this? Okay, so this is the Joshua Cup now. It was
And
Lawrence.
there's Woolworth's.
This is the Milligans.
Right.
And then you have like then the
Oh,
Montgomery County Community
That's
Foundation is next. So they must have put red brick on the outside because it looks different.
You're right. It's not even.
It doesn't look
close.
anything like it. Yeah. And then you have like Noggins here
And
style.
Noggins, yes, and Noggins still has
See,
a
there's-
walkway.
There's an alley right there.
Oh, that's right. There is an alley.
Okay, so that's Milligan's. Yeah, that's Milligan's gift. Now there's an alley, and then it starts with Community
Woolworth's
Foundation.
originally.
Okay, so that used to be that's where Milligan's is now.
Yes.
It's Woolworth's.
Yep.
And then JCPenney is where Montgomery County Community Foundation is now.
Yes.
Interesting.
And then Noggins now.
So how far? Okay, I have a question for you. So when did they add this? Because I noticed 105, 107, Steck's Weather Vane. Their buildings only go back so far. When you go on the outside out here, this one goes all the way back to the alley. So when was this added? Do you have any idea, like when they added this back part to 109? Because this goes all the way back. This one's a lot longer than 105, 107.
This was originally went to the alley.
Right. It did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought it was interesting that 105 and 107 stopped. Probably because there's other buildings coming back this way from Washington Street, right? So they probably were stopped. They couldn't go any back further.
They couldn't go any further.
Whereas this one could. Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
Okay, that Sanborn map that I gave you a page.
Yes.
That was 1925.
And it goes all the way back to the alley.
It goes all the way back to 1925.
Okay, so they didn't have this on, like, I thought maybe it was added on the 40s or 50s. Like, you guys added on.
This,
Okay.
again, when we got this was the only building that went from the front.
Yeah, it's nice to have that extra. I mean, we don't have any parking back there, but it's nice to have the extra room space, the space for storage, and there's a little storage room upstairs in the very back there. There's two stories, and we use that for storage back there upstairs.
Okay, here's
It's a lot of room. I mean, it's funny. People walk in here, and then we take them back here, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, this goes back forever." I had no idea it was just. They think it's a tiny little office. And you walk in here in the front, it's real narrow, but it just goes back. It just goes all the way back. It just keeps going. Yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat because people are like surprised at how far back it goes.
That's it. Sears.
Yeah,
That's right.
so. Yeah, so because we tell them it's two big rooms back behind that doorway. There's two rooms back further back. It goes back. So should we go back up?